Hey guys, DJ here at Top 10 Cards and Games, and today I'm going to do deck profile for Red, White, Grimm for Forcible. We'll start off with the roller. We have Grimm, the Fairy Tale Prince, 6 Magic Stone of Flames, and 4 Magic Stone of Heat Ray. Our deck is primarily red spells and then Fairy Tale for white spells in our main deck. We don't really have to worry about the colors because of Grimm and his ability to let us pay any color of will for our Fairy Tale Resonators, so that's a major plus. Grimm's ability rather, is to discard a Fairy Tale and to tutor another one, so we play a pretty big mass of Fairy Tale creatures. It's a super aggressive deck, and I think this is kind of like a better version of Mono Red. It does a lot of the things that the red deck does. It's super aggressive, there's a lot of 1-drops, applies early pressure, but it also has a much better late game because of the Fairy Tale cards. So we'll get into the list. We have a million 1-drops. So we have 4 Tinkerbells, 4 March Hare, 4 Hunter in the Black Forest, and then 2 Cheshire Cats are our Fairy Tale 1-drops. We're playing a lot of 1-drops. We have more actually. We have 4 Wolf in the Black Forest. We're going to talk about her in a minute. But Tinkerbell gets really big really quickly. March Hare also is a very big, just 1-drop, 5 power that does a lot of damage. And Hunter in the Black Forest actually clears an incredible amount of gaps. Being able to use Grimm to just sort of tutor up an extra 300 damage in situations where the board is open or to clear a tapped Gretel or something is really big. We do not play any, well, we only play 3 even costed cards rather. My count is off in my head. So March Hare almost always gets to do his damage, and the risk is very low, especially when you have Cheshire Cat to set up to ensure that it will flip a card you're okay with. The strange 1-drop in the deck is the Little Wolf, or the Wolf Hunted in the Black Forest. She's not a Fairy Tale, but we are playing all red stones, so we'll always be able to play her on turn 1, and that gives us a total of 16 aggressive 1-drops, which basically guarantees you're going to be able to hit a 1-drop on turn 1. Ideally, what the deck wants to do is open with a 1-drop and then play 2 more 1-drops turn 2, so you want to mulligan aggressively for that draw, since you don't have any 2-drops. The worst case is just to use your Grimm tutor on turn 2. From there, one of the things about Wolf Girl that is really good is that we have 3 copies of Loop Crew in our deck. Loop is the most aggressive 3-drop we can play. All our lands are red, or fire, so we'll always be able to cast him on turn 3. What he does is give your other werewolves haste, himself and your other werewolves haste. And when a werewolf attack, it deals 100 damage to your opponent. Then for other 3-drops, we have 2 Oz the Great Wizard, 1 Rapunzel, and 1 Edna. Rapunzel has a lot of utility, letting you clear the gap when boards get gummed up, and just, exploiting the fact that we have 18 creatures that cost 1 well. So you can just fill the board up and do the Rapunzel combo, just keep on tapping her and attacking. Edna has a lot of utility also as a 1-of in the deck. I only play 1 because she's a bit of a mana sink. Our games go very quickly. We don't want really to be able to tap down the board, but when the board gets gummy and your opponent has grinded the game up pretty far, you can play Edna, tap down their board, and swing in by using her Awakening for a pretty big amount. Oz has a decent number of targets in our deck. I'll go over those when we get to the spells, but he just provides a lot of utility and lets us search out reach by finding Thunders. And I already talked a lot about Loop, but one of the things that Loop does is make Wolf Girl even better. Just giving her swiftness is huge. So in 4 mana you can do something like play Loop, play Girl, attack for, 8, 6, 14? And that's a lot of burst damage coming out very quickly. I thought this card was going to be very average. I got the idea to play him from the Japanese Open decks, and they weren't playing Wolf Hunted in the Forest, and I figured, oh, well, I'll try it. I'll go a little deeper. This card was actually one of the best cards in the deck when I was playing with it, and I would consider playing the 4th one. Then, rounding out our creatures are 3 Hamlin's Pied Piper. Not much to say about Piper that I haven't said in other Grimm videos. He's a really strong card for controlling the game, clearing the board so you can attack. He's not the smallest, like he's bigger than Flames or Outer World can kill, bigger than Thunder can kill. He just does a lot of damage over time. One of the coolest things is being able to play him turn 3 off Fairy Tale. We can't do that as consistently in this deck. I am only playing 3 copies of Fairy Tale, so that doesn't happen all the time. I might go up to the 4th copy though. The reason I'm only playing 3 actually is the card you really want to Fairy Tale for all the time is Piper, and I don't want to flood my deck with Pipers because of how aggressive it is. But I do always want to have this on turn 3, so I think this is probably incorrect. I will probably go up to the 4th one. More on our spells, we have 4 copies of Thunder, And then just to close out the rest of the Alice package, we have 1 Crime and Punishment and 1 Rapid Decay. Rapid Decay is used with us to clear out blockers so you can get the damage in, and Crime and Punishment is just roller hate, as well as just clearing out problem cards like Mephistopheles. Then, rounding out our spells, we have 3 copies of Split the Heaven and Earth. I was going to play 4 initially, but it's just so bad against decks like other mono-red decks and just heavily one-color decks where they have a lot of basic stones. I don't want to risk playing 4 copies of it, plus it's an even number to cause our March Hares to mess. So I decided to go with 3 copies. Moving into the sideboard, we do have the 4th copy of Split, so like against the greedy decks playing a million colors, you can always hit it. And on top of that, we have the 4th copy of both Piper and Fairy Tale to play the grind game a little better. Outside of that, there's just a number of 1-ofs that we can tutor for. We have 1 Eye of the Pilot, 1 Little Prince. These cards are good against more aggressive decks, giving you ways to gain a bunch of life. We have 1 more Rapid Decay and 1 copy of, what is this card actually called? Savior of the Splendid, which are both tutorable with Oz to deal with different types of cards. On the Deal with Darkness Creatures category, we also have a Grimm Avenger of Fairy Tales. We have 1 Glinda to deal with other control, or not other, but to deal with control matchups a little better, and that just decks to try to gum up the board by giving us some more direct attack. 1 more Rapunzel against heavily creature-based decks. They don't have a lot of removal. They're just going to have trouble dealing with us. We'll be able to combo up as we please. 1 Duel of Truth. It's good against roller-based decks and decks with reasonably sized creatures that we just want to get rid of, but don't fall in the Rapid Decay range. 1 Emperor's New Clothes, or Emperor's New Clothes rather, just to deal with like the Tin Man Crucifix type decks, and 1 Return to Stories. Return to Stories is not tutorable, so it's kind of just a happenance that it's a 1 of in here. It's just all the slots I had. It deals with other Fairy Tale decks very well though, and with werewolves. Then we have 2 Dreams of Juliet. It's probably be a 3rd dream to be honest. I just wanted some more addition field destruction. And this card is very versatile. One of the games I played, I was actually able to win by blinking my loop, so he was able to attack and just deal some extra damage. So it's just a very versatile card, does a lot in the deck. Like I said when I was talking about the loop choice, this was kind of inspired when I was looking through lists from the Japanese Open that happened this past weekend. And I noticed one of the things that was big over there was called Bloody Grimm. Now I hated the list. And actually, I think the March Hares are too far anyway, but they also play what they call Odd Grimm a lot. And I thought that this was a really interesting choice. I didn't think that the card actually would be very good in the deck, but it was something that I looked at and said, well, I might as well try it. There's got to be a reason why this deck managed to do so well. And I think Loop is actually just an insane card. Being able to just come down, attack for 8, and force your opponent to deal with it is huge. I don't think necessarily that playing it odd and playing March Hare is correct, but March Hare is very key in enabling your Tinkerbells to get bigger. That's the biggest downside to Wolf Hunted. So I'm not sure exactly where to go. If I cut these, I would want to put more Fairy Tales in. I do really want to finish the set of Cheshire Cats in the deck. Being able to dig for your reach or burn spells at any given time is great. And I found myself very frequently looking at my hand going, I wish I could just cast more cats, try to find thunders and splits to finish my opponent off when they were playing decks that didn't rely on basic stones. I do think 3 splits is the right number if you keep March Hare in, but I would probably go up to the full 4 if I cut it. So there's a decent number of things I would change, but not a total overhaul of the deck. I think it's pretty close to playable. It's just a fun deck for the most part. I'm not sure how competitively viable it is. I haven't tested it against the Scheherazade decks at all, and those are really the boogeymans of the format right now. Boogeymen. But overall, I think this deck is super good. It's a different take on Grimm if you're tired of playing the grindy Grimm decks that, play a bunch of counter spells, make a bunch of mana trying to elf into double Gretel and stuff. Instead, you're just going to play a bunch of 1-drops and turn your dude sideways, which is fun in its own way. So, thanks for watching, guys. It's a very different take on Grimm. It's a deck I've been playing for fun and had a lot of fun with recently, so hope you liked it.